everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to have a little chat about what I'm doing differently this year when it comes to approaching my work as a freelancer and in my small business. And we're going to talk about maybe some tips that I have for you on how to enjoy your work a little bit more, especially when you're working from home and you're working to your own clock, you're working to your own business. It's really important that we find ways to kind of help spark a little bit of inspiration or kind of go with the flow at times. And for me, sometimes it is a bit of a struggle to go with the flow. I don't know if you guys are the same or if you feel the same way, but for me, I kind of have to have that little bit more structure in my day at times. Having said that, I'm not a super big schedule person, like a minute by minute, hour by hour. I can't do that. So I do have structure in my days, whether it's by having dedicated days to do certain tasks or by planning ahead to have certain tasks done on certain days, that kind of thing. But for me, I do prefer to have that little bit more flexibility. And this video definitely is directed at those of you who are looking at becoming freelancers or who are already freelancers or working in a small business of your own. I think when we're working from home especially, you feel like certain tasks are easily procrastinated on, or you might feel that way that you're procrastinating about certain tasks that you need to do during your week. But what I really want to drive home today is some of the things that I'm doing differently to kind of avoid the word procrastination for a little bit and actually look at it from a different viewpoint. Now, at the beginning of this year, towards the end of last year, I felt that there were times in my working career and when I was working from home that I wasn't enjoying my work as much as I'd like to. I felt that it was becoming a very rigid schedule of every day having to do things that quite often I would wake up and didn't necessarily want to do. And I don't know if it was because I didn't necessarily want to do them at all. I just didn't feel particularly up to it or up to certain tasks on certain days. And I think that that's very natural for a lot of people to feel that way. I've also talked about things like discipline and really making sure that if you need to get things done, that you are having the discipline no matter what. If you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like you want to do something, that you're kind of using that discipline to get you through it and to produce the work you need to produce. And there's definitely always going to be times that you'll need to do that, and there's going to be tasks that need to be done no matter what, and you are not going to want to do them. But I definitely want to talk about how to integrate a little bit more flexibility into your work schedule, a little bit more flexibility into your freelancing. And I think this isn't to say that you shouldn't have a schedule. I've definitely still kept a schedule and I still plan just as much as I've shown you guys in my previous videos with having all my different planners. I still do that. But there's a different approach that I have been taking to it this year. I've really started to approach doing my tasks and doing my work based on feeling. So this is definitely more pertaining to content creation, more so than client work. Client work can be different. Client work can be very important to get done on certain deadlines or certain timeframes, but I'm more talking about everything else that surrounds having a small business. So maybe it might be something to do with content creation for social media, because I know that that is something that a lot of people do struggle with, is kind of getting on top of that and not feeling that they want to do certain things on certain days. So definitely I've started waking up this year, and on these days where I'm not feeling like doing a certain task, like I'm just so out of it, I have no energy to do a certain task, or I have no love or joy even thinking about it for the day, I don't do it. I've started to become a little bit more flexible with my time and my schedule. For example, I think this is why a lot of people do run their own small businesses and get into freelancing, because they want to have that more flexibility with their time. So realistically, we should be taking advantage of that and of that fact. But I think a lot of us don't. I think a lot of us still fall into that 9-to-5 working trap of kind of having more of a rigid schedule, having to get things done, and then beating ourselves up when we don't do it. And then we kind of lump it all in under procrastination. Oh, I'm procrastinating this. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm procrastinating. Yes, that can be a real thing, but also we need to recognize that sometimes we'll just wake up and we don't want to do certain tasks. Especially as creatives, we just feel a very large lack of creative energy around certain tasks. And sometimes we just need to recognize too that maybe that's best left to another day. And that's how I've been starting to approach some of my work. If I am really not feeling a certain task on any given day, then I'll reassess. I'll have a look at the rest of my tasks. If I feel that I can do those, or if I feel that I've got the energy to do those, I will do them. Or maybe I'll look at some of the other days in the week that I've scheduled in to do certain other tasks, and I'll think, well, hang on a second, do I feel like I could be more energetic about this particular task today? And if so, and I'm gonna be honest, it is like that a lot of the time, I will prefer to do another task over the one that I've scheduled in for that particular day. I'll actually switch over and I'll swap the tasks for those particular days. Unless there's a deadline that I really need to meet about anything, I might even just move that task to the next day and then I'll switch out another one for another day. I've just found that being more flexible with your schedule that way, not beating yourself up every time you feel like you don't necessarily have the energy for a certain task, is the way to go. So don't always think of it as procrastination. I know it's kind of that ugly word that we all know and hate hearing that word procrastination. I think it always makes us feel very lazy if we are procrastinating on a certain task, but I think there also should be that room for flexibility in your schedule. And really think of it as following your intuition, following your energy needs, following your inspiration for the day. I really feel like that's important as creatives. When we're working for ourselves, we need to be doing that. We need to be taking note of that because it's always going to reflect in how we do our work and the work that we produce as well. One easy way that I've found to really do this is to start prioritizing my tasks more on a to-do list every day. So there's more really important tasks at the top and less important towards the bottom. That way, at least I know that especially some of those less important tasks in particular, so maybe some of my social media, content planning or content creation might come under that. I know that I can be a little bit more flexible, especially with those things. And I know that if I get some of my most important things done for the day, then I can always cut down some of the other tasks that I have left on the list. Having said that, there will be times that some of those most important tasks that are at the top of your list, you will not want to do. So once again, try and incorporate that flexibility into how you're doing it. Don't beat yourself up about it if you don't feel like doing a certain task on any given day. We really need to remember that as creatives, as I mentioned before, it's so important to follow our intuition when we're feeling it and when we're not feeling it. And it's really probably going to make a big impact on our mental health overall if we really follow doing that. And for me, I've definitely felt better about doing a lot of my work tasks, knowing that I'm not going to be that hard on myself at times if I choose to swap tasks around or be a little bit more flexible in that way. I want to drive home the fact here that I'm not saying that it's okay to procrastinate every day of the week and just whenever you wake up, it's okay if you don't want to do a task and you should just shove it to the side. I think it's just a matter of moving things around and swapping days and doing things like that when you really are not feeling it. As I said, there's always going to be those days that you need to focus on certain tasks, regardless of whether you don't want to do them or not. But for the most part, as freelancers, I think we should have a little bit more flexibility in our schedules to move things around, because that's one of the benefits a lot of the time of being a freelancer, is that we can have those advantages and we really should be using them. All right, guys, so I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about this video today and about whether you feel that you're being flexible enough within your own business, or if this is something that you feel like you want to incorporate more of into your own business or freelancing. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, make sure that you do, because I'll be posting a lot more freelancing content in future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.